Welcome to the Take Your Apprenticeship podcast. The Take Your Place team is made up of 5 universities and 9 further education colleges from across the east of England. We are an impartial project dedicated to giving you the information you need, regardless of where you are applying to study. Since 2017, we have worked with over 30,000 students from 100 different schools, colleges and sixth forms, helping them to explore their options and discover their potential. Now we hope to help you too. In this podcast series, we will explore all aspects of finding, applying for and succeeding in an apprenticeship. Through talking to experts and current apprentices from a variety of industries, we will help you explore your future apprenticeship options.
In this episode, my colleague Naomi spoke to Alex Collins, who runs the apprenticeship programme at Brafe. They spoke about the wide range of jobs available in construction and why an apprenticeship is a great route into this career. As with all our conversations in this series, our interviews are recorded remotely, so you might hear some background office and working from home noises. Don't forget to check out the Take Your Place resource website at takeyourplace.ac.uk/resources for more university and apprenticeship information.
I'm joined here today by Alex from Brafe Engineering, who offer a range of different apprenticeships. Hi Alex, thank you for joining us today. Could you start by telling us about what Brafe does and what your role is?
So my role is split between being a quality engineer and running Brafe's apprenticeship programme. Brafe is an employee-owned company. We've been running for about 50 years. We mostly make high-spec parts for the energy industry, and we're currently working on projects for nuclear power stations around the country and around the globe. Being employee-owned means that every employee has an equal part in our business. That means everything from voting rights to profit sharing. So an apprentice at Brafe gets the exact same share of the profits at the end of the year as anybody else, including directors.
So you had said you had a dual role there. What was your route from school to the job you have now?
So I started out doing summer work at Brafe originally whilst I did my GCSEs and then A-levels. I then decided that I wanted to do a level 3 apprenticeship with Brafe as I didn't want to go to uni. So I did the level 3, I then did a higher apprenticeship as well, and eventually topped that up to a full degree.
So you actually have a lot of experience as an apprentice. That's lovely. What apprenticeships do Brafe offer?
We typically offer 2 to 3 apprenticeships each year. The areas that they're in vary every year depending on our needs, but they're primarily in the foundry, as that's the core of our business. And then we also offer apprenticeships in machining, welding, business, material science, maintenance.
So there's quite a range there. How does someone at Brafe split their study and placement time?
So the split depends on what course they're doing. The majority of our apprentices go to West Suffolk College for everything other than the foundry training. So that's a day release, so that'll be 1 or 2 days a week. And then the rest of the week will be spent at work. If they're doing the foundry course, that will be block release because it's up in the Midlands, so it'll be a week away at a time. Then every Friday, we give our apprentices half a day to focus on their studies. So where most apprentices would get 20% off the job to focus on their college time, we actually give ours 30%.
Wonderful, that's really supportive. What type of skills will an apprentice at Brafe Engineering gain?
There's 2 types of skills, I would say. There's the skills that you would get from going into any job, especially if you're just leaving school. So that's the standard, learning to get there on time and to follow the company rules, getting used to doing college work and, a day job side by side, and obviously the benefit of getting a qualification. We at Brafe obviously have our values that are specific to us because everything we do is done in a team in one sense or another. You obviously need to be good at communicating. You need to, as I say, turn up on time and make sure you take your breaks in accordance with the team. You gain a lot of industry knowledge as well. Engineering is great in that it's very universal. If you can work on a car, then you can work on a lathe, you can work on a ship, you can apply those skills anywhere and you'll be able to take the skills you learn in an engineering apprenticeship and apply them into any company that does engineering.
Where do Brafe tend to advertise their apprenticeship opportunities?
We're quite a local business, so we tend to go into the local colleges around Suffolk. That's mostly where we advertise. We also advertise on our websites. We occasionally advertise on Facebook, LinkedIn, and the government apprenticeship website as well.
A misconception that we hear a lot is that companies will take on apprenticeships as cheap labour. Is this the case, and why do Brafe like to take on apprentices?
So it can be the case that some companies do take on apprentices as cheap labour. I wouldn't say that's the case in the majority of places, and that's definitely not the case with us. Most of our staff, because we're in engineering, did start their career as an apprentice, so we all see the value in apprenticeships, in developing a person and in gaining those niche skills that you probably wouldn't learn anywhere else. We don't have the benefit of being able to go out into the job market and hiring people with the specific knowledge that we need, so we have to develop those skills in-house, and apprenticeships are a brilliant way of doing that. As I said before, as we all started as apprentices, we like to reward them justly. I believe our starting rate at Brafe is £7 an hour for all apprentices, which is almost double the national average.
What type of skills and experience are you looking for when someone applies to an apprenticeship?
The most frequent question I get when I go to schools and colleges is, what grades do I need to get? That's what people are sort of focused on. And maths and English at GCSE are always a bonus, because you'll have to do them as part of any apprenticeship. But for us, I'd say it's more about personality. So if somebody is hardworking, willing to learn, if they've got a bit of experience in a job, even if it's just a part-time job at a supermarket, it's a great way of demonstrating that work ethic. And that's, to us anyway, a lot more important than grades, is the fact that you're willing to put in a good day's work and you're willing to put in the effort to go to college to get a good qualification.
If someone's application is accepted, then they'll be invited to interview. How does the interview process work, and what type of things stand out for you in a successful interview?
The way that we do interviews at Brafe is very relaxed. It's not the typical give me your 3 strengths, give me your 3 weaknesses sort of questions. It is really more of a conversation to get to know a person, their history, their motivation, their work ethic. That's what's important to us. So to stand out in our interview, having, like I say, a bit of work history, even if it is just a little part-time job, that's brilliant. Being, honest and showing a genuine interest. If you've done a bit of research about the company you're applying for, that always goes a long way because it shows that you're committed. But that's not the way that all companies interview. The majority do still go with the traditional, question and answer sort of thing. So candidates should be prepared for those sorts of interviews. And it's always worth asking a company what their interview process entails, so that you can prepare for it.
That's really great advice there, Alex. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Just before we finish, what is your advice for anyone wanting to explore an apprenticeship in engineering?
My advice would be, if you're doing your GCSEs, try and get your maths and English at least 4. That's because, like I say, you have to do them in any apprenticeship anyway, so you can cut those extra modules out. That's brilliant. And a lot of companies will have that as a entry requirement. I would also say, get some work experience if you haven't already. It doesn't have to be anything stellar. It can just be, stacking shelves on the weekend or doing a bit of volunteering here or there, coaching football team, anything that shows that you can turn up somewhere on time, that you can work hard, and anyone you can use as a reference as well. And do lots of research, look online, see what jobs are out there, what interests you. And if you do get invited to interview, as I say, research that company and their jobs, and that will go a long way to impressing them.
Great advice and top tips.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to our future podcasts at soundcloud.com/takeyourplace or on your favourite podcasting app. You can also find us on Instagram, where we are at takeyourplace_HE, on Twitter at takeyourplaceHE, and on Facebook at facebook.com/takeyourplaceHE. You can also email us with any questions, requests, or just to let us know what you think on info@takeyourplace.ac.uk.